All right, guys, we got a fairly simple repair today. We're going to be working on a portion of the fuel system on a 1980 International Harvester 986. We have a little bit of a repair here, so I'll take you guys along and show you what I'm up to. All right, guys, a few videos ago, you'll remember me talking about the fuel line on this 986 here, an issue I've been having. We want to address that today and get that taken care of before spring starts here. You remember me talking about this hose. This hose goes from the fuel filter base to the injection pump. This is going to be a supply hose to supply fuel to your injection pump. It is a rubber hose. One end you have a JIC fitting, one end you have pipe thread. It is a pre-made hose. It does have crimped ends on it, but mine is leaking. It's kind of weeping here at the connection between the JIC fitting and the hose, and it's a little bit oily out here. Like I said, I did go out on the road, some service calls to replace this line because it is kind of a weak link. I don't know why they decided to have a rubber line here, why it's not steel like all the others, unless it was for vibration or something like that. So we're going to get this line changed so we don't have any issues. Like I said, I have seen it blow out. It does make a mess and your tractor won't run depending on how bad it's blown out. So we don't want that this summer making hay, because if that line blows out, I had to wait about 3-4 days until my dealer got one in stock. So if I had hay laying in the field, no good. So we're going to do that. A couple of guys in the comments had said that they should change it on theirs too, that theirs was pretty bad. So I figured I'd save you guys and your parts department the time to look it up. I'll give you the number here. Now this is a Case IH part number. I didn't even check the aftermarket parts market to see what was available. I went to my Case IH dealer and ordered the line. So it's going to be a 688 190 C1, and that should be a good Case IH part number for you to look up. I don't know what it costs. I didn't get the receipt because they had got me wrong fuel filters for another tractor, so I had to return the wrong fuel filters. So they still have to get me the fuel filters. All right, so we're going to change this line. I'll get into how to do that. And I also am going to change these two fuel filters. Now, I probably would not have to change these fuel filters. I could probably run this tractor another year, because when I first got the tractor, you'll see it says 42817 on the filter. That was when a couple weeks after I had it home, I serviced everything on the tractor, everything from top to bottom. We changed all the filters and did the complete service, and I probably only put 59-60 hours on this tractor this summer. But a couple reasons why I want to change these, and a couple guys had said that they were too cheap to change their fuel filters, that they run them till they're basically rust. And I'm not going to put you guys down, because I've seen that many times in my career working on equipment. I've had fuel filters that were bit fast, that they were on that long and they were that hard to get off. I had to hammer a punch through the filter, a real long punch, just so I could get enough leverage to turn it, because your filter wrench would not turn the filters off. So I ended up breaking a filter wrench or two. So I'm not going to condemn you guys or put you guys down. I know it is a common thing. I probably wouldn't have to change these filters, but I'm going to give you a couple reasons as to why I want to change these filters for next year. And I should say this year. I don't know why I keep saying next year. For this year, I want to change the filters. All right, so I'll give you guys the filter numbers also to help save you some time when ordering. If you're going to use the Fleet Guard numbers, FF5020, and we have FF5019. So these will be the two filters you need. The reason I'm going to change these, like I said before, I didn't own this tractor from new. This will be my second year owning this tractor. And when I got this tractor, the fuel gauge was right on empty. I mean, when I bought it, I don't think there was 3 gallons in the tractor. I don't know how long it was run that way. I don't know if they were running it right down to empty. Usually what I do, and again, I'm kind of fussy and probably overthink things, and that's fine. Usually I don't let a tractor get below half a tank of fuel, just on account of when it gets down so far, then your have more of a chance of sucking sludge and that kind of stuff through. So this was right empty. I couldn't even take it for a test drive when it first came home because I was worried that I was going to run out of fuel. So I had to get some fuel in the tractor. The fuel filters that were on before this one looked pretty old, looked like they were on a long time. So being that there wasn't much fuel in this thing, and I don't know the history on it, I don't want to have any problems or any issues. I don't know how much water was in the tank because this tractor sat out on the farm that I bought it from, so it was outside all the time. So I didn't know if water was an issue. I do put additives in. I don't know how clean their fuel was. I just don't know. I didn't own the tractor, and I don't want any fuel issues. I don't want to have to buy an injection pump or do work to injectors. I want to try to keep everything going here on the service, so that way we can make everything last a while. So anyway, we're going to change these filters probably next year. I will maybe try to get 2 years out of them depending on how many hours I put on the tractor. But being that this is only the second year and this is only the second set of fuel filters that I put on, we're going to change them. So let's get into this video. All right, guys, so your first step with anything with the fuel system on this, you're going to want to shut the fuel off from the tank. So you're going to want to come around to the rear of your tractor, and on the left side in the back, I'll try to show you where this shutoff is. There's a fuel shutoff on the bottom of your fuel tank in the back. I don't have saddle tanks on this tractor. I just have this top rear tank. So I'll try to right where my finger was pointing was where the shutoff is. So we want to get our hand in here underneath the 3-point hitch. I'm going to stand up just so it's a little easier for me to, if I can get in there. All right, so you want to turn it back towards yourself depending on which way it's facing. Mine is facing to the left, so I can turn it back towards me to close it. You want to shut the fuel off, and hopefully your fuel shutoff valve holds. That it's not still going to be leaking up front. This would be the second time I did this, so I do know that this shutoff holds when you close it. The shutoff that you're looking at right now is that's the drain, tank drain, I think. So let's get. All right, we got it shut. So hopefully that's going to be good enough. Now let's come back around and get into this. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is remove these two filters just to get them out of the way here. We're going to take these two fuel filters off. So you get yourself a bucket. You're going to have some fuel that's going to run down on the frame and around. Probably, no matter what you try to do, you're going to get some fuel. So we will spin these filters off. I'd said it before a couple times. These are the style of filter wrench. This is the style of filter wrench that I prefer. Like I say, I know you can get bands, you can get metal bands, rubber bands, the cup style, you can get all kinds. Nothing beats, in my opinion, depending on the clearances where you can get with your hands, nothing beats a nice pair of pliers that you can really grip down. I haven't had too many filters that I couldn't get off with this. I've actually had them that I have crushed the filter, and I even put a piece of pipe over the end here, and works every time. I don't think you can do much better as far as a filter wrench, just my opinion. So we'll spin these filters off and get them off of the tractor. All right, guys, we got the old fillers off. You can see I spun those off, so they're out of my way here. As you can see, my fuel shutoff does work. I have the fuel shut off, and we're not really dripping or anything. On these, there's always a chance you could have it drip or leak past that shutoff, so we're good. I know that works. So the next thing, we're going to take these little clamps off here so we can get this line changed. So it's just 2 bolts here. Loosen these bolts and these clamps can come apart, and then we can get this line off and work on getting the new one put on. So let's get these off next. All right, I have the old line off, and I want to kind of zoom in here and show you how the rubber has deteriorated on this old line. Basically on both ends. So I don't think it would have been too much longer. It looks like there's a little crack right there, probably where it was leaking. So this line we pretty well took to the limit. So now it's just a matter of putting the new line on, basically just the same way it came off. So let's get it on. All right, and you'll take notice there is no swivel on the side that goes into the injection pump. It's just a case of getting it started and turn the whole hose. This is the point where you want to really be careful and not to get any dirt or contamination in your system, because this is after the filter. So if any of you guys are interested in making your own hose, you can make these if you can get the ends to crimp on. This is a high temperature 400 psi. It's 3/8 SAE 100. That's the hose that they're using for this replacement. It's probably way cheaper. I don't know what this costs. I have to go back and look. But it'd probably be way cheaper if you can just go to your hydraulic shop and get one made. Maybe that's what I should have did, but I went with the Case IH replacement part number. So just got to get it started and swivel it in, and then you can come over here and the swivel is on this end, so we can tighten it up there. Another note, these clamps, you don't have to completely take them apart. You can just loosen them and then they turn to the side. And then there's also these rubber bushings here to help protect the hose from rubbing your clamp. So let's get this on and start putting filters on and get it bled and see where we end up. All right, and just one tip here, trick, piece of advice I can offer. Don't tighten this down so that you can still swivel your hose until you get your clamps in position and get your rubber back inside. It makes it a lot easier that you can turn the hose to make sure that it's clamped straight. Then when the clamps tighten, the hose is where it needs to be. So just let this loose and get your clamps started here. At least get them in position. Now we can tighten it down. All right, we got everything on as far as the line. That was a pretty easy repair. And because this is a good old international tractor from the 70s and 80s, the glory days of farm machinery, I don't have to take the hood off to do this repair. I don't have to take any side panels off. I don't have to do anything with the tin work. You can work on this engine. It's about waist high. You don't have to bend over. It's right there to work on. There is no computer controlling this fuel system. There's no relays or switches or anything like that. As a matter of fact, there are no wires that plug into this injection pump to make things go wrong. Simpler's better. It's gonna run. It's a good old international tractor without having a lot of work to do this repair. So again, it's another easy repair. Now we're gonna put our fuel filters on. All right, so you can see the filters are on. I have opened the shutoff. I opened the shutoff on the back of the tractor, back at the tank. The next thing you want to do when you're bleeding these filters and bleeding this tractor, you'll take notice right here on the top side of the front filter, there's a little bleeder screw. So you get yourself a 7/16 wrench, and you want to open that. That'll let the air out, and because the tank is higher than the filters, the air will escape and fuel will fill your fuel filters here. At least that's the theory, if your bleeder is good. So you just want to open that up. And then after a while, you should start to see some fuel run out of there once the fuel gets from the tank. So I have seen it already that they were blocked, that they didn't work. The other thing that International makes really nice is this pump here on the injection pump, this little bleeder. I'll show you how that works once we get some fuel out of here. So it takes a little bit. These are pretty big filters, so I'll come back with you here. All right, so the bleeder valve's been open for a little while, still nothing, so I'll show you something to help speed this process along a little bit. You can see over here on your injection pump, on the back side, you have this little hold down here with a wing nut, so we want to loosen that. Then flip this hold down out of your way. Bear with me, one-handed again. Here, let's get this backed off. And I'm using my left hand and I'm right-handed, so a little uncoordinated. Get that. All right, that's out of the way. Now, most of these leak. Mine leaks, so you're going to see some fuel coming out of here. This here is a pump. It leaks bad. Just pump this up until basically, now you can see what's happening over here. See the bubbles? All the air is being pushed out. We got some fuel circulating. So I'm going to get off the camera here so I can prevent a mess here. But basically you pump that till you don't have any air bubbles coming out of your bleeder anymore. And then close your bleeder and then pump it a few times afterwards. So yeah, we're making a mess here, so try not to get any on the camera. So I'll come back. All right guys, this video is getting kind of long-winded. Basically all there is to do then is to start it, and you shouldn't have to bleed anything after that. With that pump, you can tell when you're not pumping air anymore, it goes hard. You start to feel it's more fluid, that you're pumping fuel. So we can hook up our batteries and start it. And as you can hear, it's running, and I don't see any fuel on the floor, so I guess we got this project pretty well taken care of. Stay tuned for tomorrow, because tomorrow's video we have some pretty significant problems with one of the tractors here, and I don't think we're going to be using it this year now. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Thanks for watching.